See, I don't know how to do all this stuff.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Yeah.
I don't have patience for all this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No, we understand. We understand, man. It is what it is. But we are officially live, and we're gonna start chatting it up. Give it another 30 seconds or so, because I did say 7:30. So just in case people are very time specific, we're gonna wait it out. All right. Well, it is 7:30, fellas. If you guys are ready, we're good to go.
Yes, we are.
Mr. Melvin Jackson and Mr. Ibrahim Aljahim, we're both good to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. All right, so first of all, good evening, everyone. My name is Omar Thabit from MotivateMe313, and today why we are here is we're pretty much sure, especially for those that are in the Hamtramck community. Most of you have seen the video that was circulating through social media last week that involved a Hamtramck resident and 3 Hamtramck police officers. Well, tonight we have retired Detroit Police Department officer Melvin Jackson, who is right here next to me, as well as Hamtramck community activist Ibrahim Aljahim, to break down the video and discuss what exactly happened. Before we do break down the video, I do want to give these guys a proper introduction, because I just want to let people know that are watching that these guys right here are well represented within their communities and well represented to discuss this kind of topic. Starting off with Mr. Melvin Jackson. Melvin Jackson served in the Detroit Police Department for over 22 years. During his career, Officer Jackson was a recipient for the following awards. He had 2 Chiefs Merit Awards, 1 Chiefs Unit Awards, 4 Letters of Commendation Commanding Officer 11th Precinct, 1 Letter of Appreciation from the Director of the United States Secret Service, 1 Letter of Appreciation from the Chief of Police Department, 2 life-saving citations and medals, 7 citations, and 6 commendation certificates. Additionally, Officer Jackson received various letters of appreciation from schools and citizens from the community. So you know Officer Jackson is a community guy. And now to introduce Ibrahim Aljahim. Ibrahim Aljahim is associate at Manchester Trade Limited. He's also the advisor to the president of the community in New York City. He is a board member of the UCC Mesgid al-Kabir. And you know, he is a community activist and organizer. I'm sure anything that is going on in the community, Ibrahim Aljahim, you know his face is going to be there. The Hamtramck community, that is, even Detroit community, and even Dearborn community, to be honest with you. So again, these are these 2 guys. I wanted to introduce them. And lastly, I just want to touch on a couple final notes before we start breaking down this video. I'm sorry guys, I know it's an introduction and I know you guys might be annoyed with me, but I have to say this stuff just to make sure that we are clear. First and foremost, we are not here to badmouth any group. We are here to have a civilized conversation while focusing on the facts of the incidents. As for the citizen that was involved in the incident, me and my family, we know Am. My brother grew up with Am. They graduated the same year from Hamtramck High School. We used to play baseball at the same field where the incident took place, which is Veterans Memorial Park. You know, we used to play baseball right at that field. You know, he was a very good baseball player, Amr that is. And believe it or not, he actually taught me how to throw the curveball. And Mr. Coach Jackson, I'm telling you, it was a nasty curveball. I just want to let you know. So we've shared some good times. And for those that know Amr, you know, they have accused him, and I say accused because I don't know his background and health background. So I say they have accused him for being mentally ill. But for those that say that, just know that he was never always like this. And this probably has recently happened within the last couple of years. I just want to get that off the table. And then I also want to get a shout out to Mr. Melvin Jackson. Because when I first reached out to him, I originally told former Officer Jackson, retired Officer Jackson, to just break down the video so that people can know the facts about the video. He was the one that told me, why don't you reach out to a community member, because he knew that the community was outraged about this incident, and have him on the panel as well so that they can have this conversation. We cannot grow unless we have conversations with one another. So I appreciate Melvin Jackson for mentioning that, which is what we're doing here. That's why we have Mr. Ibrahim Aljahim with us. Lastly, for those that are wondering, why are we doing this? Like everyone else, I am here to learn. I am trying to listen to both sides. I want to hear from a person that was in the department, and I also want to hear from a community activist to hear what both sides are feeling. and hopefully we have a positive discussion so that we can come together to change so that this doesn't happen again. With that said, Mr. Jackson, is there an opening statement that you want to say before we start breaking down the video?
Well, I just want to say thank you, man. And I think these type of topics are very, very important for us to have, for the community to see, based on everything that's going on in our community, in the world right now. So I think this is great that you have this platform to bring us here to share our thoughts about this right here. So thanks again.
No problem, Mr. Jackson. And Mr. Ibrahim Aljahim, do you have an opening statement that you want to say before we start breaking down the video?
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to thank you, brother Omar, or nephew Omar, and thank you, show, the MotivateMe313. I mean, police force and the way they're acted towards the citizens of the United States of America is ridiculous. That's one. Second thing, I was at the White House in 2016 while President Obama's last year on behalf of the American Human Rights Council, and the discussion was law enforcement, reform. So this has been going on for so many years. We just didn't catch on to it. And we need to have a serious discussion regarding
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Law enforcement reform in the country.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. When you say we, are you talking about the country? Or are we talking about specifically the city of Hamtramck?
No, we're talking about as Americans.
Okay. All right. So with that said, we can jump right into it. We decided that we are going to watch the video, and then whenever Officer Jackson, or retired Officer Jackson, wants to stop the video, he'll just let me know. Or if you guys want to just let it fly through the first time, whatever you guys feel comfortable with, and then we can just have a discussion and we can break down the video and see what exactly went right, what exactly went wrong, and vice versa. So I am here now sharing my screen. We can all kind of see the video right now. Can you all both see the video right now? Both of you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think I have the oldest eyes on the panel right now. So I have watched the video, so I kind of see it from here what we're watching right now.
All right. So with that said, Officer Jackson, I'm sure you're gonna do a great job. So I'm gonna start playing the video, and again, I'm not turning off the sound of the video because we don't need to hear the people in the background. But we will watch it together. And Officer Jackson, if you ever, you could just commentate throughout. You can just tell me to stop. Let me know, all right? And Ibrahim Aljahim, the same for you. If you feel like there's something that was wrong, maybe Officer Jackson can clear it up or let us know what exactly happened there, all right? So the video has begun, okay? As you guys can see, that's Ahmed in the background, and the three officers are standing right next to him. Can you tell us what happens here, Officer Jackson, in a specific, what goes on in this situation?
Well, first of all, I think that people need to understand that the officers are there because someone called the police. More than likely. I don't really know what's all occurred, what led up to the police being at this location right here, but based on what I'm saying, it looked like somebody had called the police on this young man here that's standing here in the park. They don't look to be too aggressive. It seems like they're actually talking with him, and it seems like they may be familiar with him, and he may be familiar with them. Right now, I don't see no one being aggressive, which is great. The police officers doesn't think they appear to be doing anything wrong at this moment right here.
Okay.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. And let me just pause it right there because I do have the facts about the incident. I reached out to Max Garbarino, who is the Director of Public Safety of the city of Hamtramck. So I reached out to him because I didn't want to just do this just to do this. I want to make sure we had the facts related to the video. So when you say, was there somebody called and you didn't want to assume? So the fact to touch on that is that the police were called because he as in I'm over there, had been causing problems at one of the local mosques. He was located at a short distance away, and the officers were evaluating if he was a threat to anyone. So for that moment, that's the fact that's connected to that situation. So that's why they were there, and that's why they were called. So I'm going to continue on with the video. And feel free, guys, if you guys want to comment. If anybody's watching, you're more than welcome to comment. I'll be sure to share it with the panel as well. You know, and this is routine right here. Officer Jackson just making sure everything is, having a conversation with people. Do you have a problem with what's going on over here?
So far, I don't have a problem with what's taking place at this moment. It looks like they're trying to talk with him and find out what's going on with him, maybe his side of the story.
Ibrahim, we hear an echo in the background with you, by the way, Ibrahim. I think you have the video on.
Yeah, I turned it off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I was saying, it looks like they're trying to figure out, identify with him. Does he know about why this person, why they may be approaching him, why they trying to talk with him? And right now, everything seems to be really fairly good right now. No one's been aggressive. It's like they're trying to talk to him and reason with him. Because what people need to understand is that police officers have to be able to do their jobs. Now, how they do their jobs is something different, but they have to be able to do their job. Officers are not like security guards. You know what I'm saying? They can't just, it's not like they're walking around to a store and watching to see if a person is doing something wrong or finna steal something. They were called there, they were there for a reason. So that's why they're there. That's what it appears to be right here in this part of the video.
And so I'm stopping right there because I've watched the video, so I kind of know that the incident is about to happen now. So I just want to state fact number 2 because I have 4 facts here. Fact number 2 is that after the officers attempted to speak with him at length, it was clearly obvious to them that he needed to be taken to the hospital for medical attention. And if I'm correct, Officer Jackson, officers are allowed to do that, to take people to the hospital for medical attention. Is that correct?
Well, back when I was policing, you can get a written order. A family member or someone can write a written order up to get you conveyed. They can give it to the police, call the police out, and they can take you to the hospital, receiving hospital. That's where we used to transport a lot of our people who we thought had some type of mental issues. So in this case right here, if the police officer seeing that he may be a harm to himself or someone else, they most definitely can call and see if they can have him transported to whatever the facility that they use here in the city of Detroit right now, or Hamtramck area.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the video and continue it on because this is where.
But Omar, with this case, they booked him first, and they went through the process, then they took him to the hospital.
Okay, so I mean, are you saying that they booked him as in booked him to the? Okay, he got off the camera. I hope when he comes back. Okay, he's back now. What do you mean by booked him, Ibrahim Aljahim? Can you be more specific when you say by booked him? You're muted right now, Ibrahim. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? Sorry about that.
Yeah, they took him to the precinct first, then they took him to the hospital.
Okay.
They didn't take him to the hospital right away.
Okay, and I'm just, listen, when I say this stuff, guys, like I said, this is facts coming from Max Garbarino, the Director of Public Safety for the City of Hamtramck. And so he mentioned to me that he was never arrested and was never going to be arrested. The officers were simply taking him into protective custody to transport to the hospital for help. So that was fact number 3 that he shared with me. I just want to mention that that's what was mentioned to me. And so I guess we're going to keep playing the video and then we can go from there.
Go ahead.
And Officer Jackson, do you want me to stop it right here? Do you want to say anything right now?
That's fine. At some point, it appears that the officer advised them what was about to take place. And the defendant, he refused. He didn't want to go where they were trying to take him to. So he resisted. And at that moment, the officers have the right to use the minimum force necessary to detain him. So you can play it on.
Okay. Feel free, guys, to let me know to stop if there's something you guys want me to say or you guys want to say.
Well, you can continue it for a minute right here. Keep continuing it because I'm quite sure there's people who's watching this may have some problems, some issues with how the police officers are handling him right now. I don't think people really understand what it's like to be trying to detain someone and not knowing what the outcome may be. I'm glad that there's 3 officers right here. Can you imagine if there was just 1 officer? In a lot of cases, you can stop it right here for a second if you want.
Yes, sir.
What people don't understand, in a lot of cases now, you see a lot of officers riding by themselves. Or then you may see 2 police cars, and people be like, man, why are all these police cars are over here? Sometimes with a person like this, 1 person couldn't have handled this man right here, possibly. They may have had, I didn't see if these officers had tasers. I don't know whether Hamtramck officers use tasers.
They don't. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we've been asking for 11 years for the Hamtramck Police Departments to have body cams and tasers. They don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, because of the budget part over in Hamtramck, I don't know what the money situation is over there and how many law enforcement officers they have currently there. I don't know. But again, when I watched
officers, it would cost $120,000 for the body cams and the tasers. And I told Max, if you can get a grant, I'll give you the $120,000 in 3 months. We need them ASAP in Hamtramck.
Well, we'll talk about that off camera. Maybe I can get you some help with that. Again, I like the fact that there's 3 officers on them, but so the possibility of him being injured is like less to occur in this case right here, because again, they're using the minimum force necessary to detain this young man right here. He resisted for a certain part. I noticed that the officer has his knee on his back, knee on his neck. I'm not really for sure. Don't get me wrong with that, but that occurred between 30 to 40 seconds. I've had an occurrence as a law enforcement officer with a mental patient before, where he took my partner and threw him almost out of the window, and I literally had to grab him by the neck because he started throwing me as well. I had to grab him by his neck, and I used a chokehold on him. And a lot of people, they don't want to use the chokeholds no more. But without the chokehold, I don't know if I would probably be living to even have this conversation with him. But the thing about me at that situation was, once I got him to where he was on the ground, I released him. You know what I'm saying? The people really don't understand what it's like to be fighting someone and possibly fighting for your life, or a person like that to be able to get a hold of your weapon and possibly use it against you. So what I like about what I saw here is that so far is that the officers are using the minimum force necessary to get this man into custody. I looked at it. His knee was probably I can't really tell whether it was on the knee on his back, neck. I don't know. But I've done it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to do these certain things to get that person under control. But we know that everything could be good until it started where people abuse it. I didn't see where officers abuse anything in this case right here. And once you continue the video, you're going to see what the officer comes out with his baton. I have a baton like that. I don't know if that's the department issue with them. I don't know. But it appears that he's hitting them with it. But when I'm looking at it, because I know how they work, he couldn't get it open. So you have to flick it down to get it to pop out and stay stuck. So then you see him kind of go back down with it again. And then it finally, it stays straight. That's what that collapsible baton works. You have to sling it to the ground, fling it down, then it pops and it stays stuck. And that's where it appeared like he was hitting with it. I don't know whether he was hitting with it or not,
So go ahead, Melvin. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
I don't know whether he was hitting with it or not, but at the same time, it appears that the officer was trying to get the baton loose in order to pry the young man's arm from up under him.
Yeah, so I just want to confirm 2 things. So some people are asking why were they called in the first place. Just want to reiterate it, that they were called because there was a disturbance. He was the citizen was causing problems at one of the local mosques, so he was located at a short distance away, and the officers were evaluating if he was a threat to anyone. So that's why they were called. And so going back to what, again, this is all from the memo from Max Gabarino, Director of Public Safety for the City of Hamtramck. So to touch on what you were just saying, Mr. Jackson, according to him, that he was not hurt from the incident at all, and the officers never struck him or restricted his breathing, contrary to what people are attempting to say. They are not watching the video close enough, and most also don't understand what they're actually seeing. And if you do watch the video, it kind of does show that what you were saying, that he was trying to pry it open, and it doesn't look like that he really made contact with the baton, just from viewing the video myself. But if we want to continue it going, keep it going, we can definitely keep the video going. Is that, Mr. Ibrahim Aljahim, is that something else that you want to touch on as well?
The kid, we work with him, okay? He's never bothered anyone. He's never been to a mosque, to be honest. So we need an internal investigation to find out the truth. And I respect Mask. He was a great chief. He's doing a great job right now. But listen, we have to look at both sides. We have to look at every angle.
Definitely.
We need FOIA, and we need a special investigation regarding this case, okay? Us getting to the point where they have body cams and tasers is not enough. And we know this is not the only situation that happened in Hamtramck. It's just the first one that was caught on camera.
Okay.
Everybody knows this. And I'm sure you heard many stories, Omar, and Hamtramck, and how they treat the young guys.
Yeah.
And they've called young guys Muslims and Arabs and
all right, and so I'm gonna keep the video going. By the way, we're gonna keep the like I said, keep the video going. And that's the part where you're saying that he was using the baton right there to maybe like. Is that what you were saying?
Well, yes. I have one of those batons because I do private security from time to time, and you have to, when you take that baton out, it's short. And in order to get it open, you have to snap it. You have to flick it down towards the ground. And see, when he was doing that, it wasn't connecting. So he kept trying to do it, and it appeared as he was hit. I don't know whether he actually struck him with it or not, but you can see when he brought it back down, he was still trying to get it to open up, and it wouldn't open all the way. And then once he got it open, he stuck it from up under him and pulled his arm out. And again, though, what people don't understand, the officer could have struck him. The officer has the right to use the minimum force necessary to affect the detain, to affect the arrest or detain that person, because they have established probable cause to do it. And when you rewind and you talk about somebody called them, see, we don't know. When we get the phone call, dispatch us to that location, and we get there, we see the person who they just described. Now we have to follow this person who's harassing somebody in the park, whatever it may be. Now we have to follow up on that. Now, and I tell you this, I don't know. Based on what I see, that young man probably have had numerous complaints on him from the people in the community. I don't know. And that, and I just wish that sometimes when people see problems like that in the community, we try to address those type of problems, and get that. If he needs, I don't know whether he's a mental person or not. I don't have a clue. But if he is, eventually something's going to occur with him if no one ever do anything about it. It's just a matter of time. Oh, okay. I thought, but that's the tape I'm watching. It's just a matter of time. And you watch the videotape. Once they cuffed him, he got up. He wasn't resisting when he got up. They helped him put his shoe on. They walked him to a car, and when they opened the car door, he got in on his own.
Yeah.
He got in on his own. Police officers normally, when there's someone that they're having a real severe problem with, they trying to drag a person in the car, they trying to force him in the car because the person doesn't want to go. At some point, hopefully this person gets the help that he needs. And I know it got to be more problems that's going on in the Hamtramck Police Department, and
yes,
that we're not touching on. But I think it's a lot bigger than what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. In a lot of cases, there's problems that's going on in the community there. And you got to sit down and have conversations. We got to have the hard conversations, and most people don't want to have hard conversations. And sometimes, see, the word enemy is not the person in front of you. The word enemy is what's going on inside of you. That's enemy. And sometimes people don't want to address that. And we got to have hard conversations, man. And that's what's going to help our community and help our people all over. Do I think that the police department, needs to have problems all over this country? Yes, I do. And I'd like to ask some of you guys, I heard you say something about the amount of officers in Hamtramck Police Department. How many people in you guys' community are signing up to be law enforcement officers in your community?
Zero.
How many?
Not even one. We have one reserve, and that's it.
Okay.
How it works.
But see, those are the things that you guys have to be looking at. Like, how is it that we can get more of us in our community working? Because here, if I was a police officer coming to your community, coming to your home about an issue, a lot of times I wouldn't know. I can't really relate. You know what I'm saying? So someone,
Mr. Jackson,
yes,
Mr. Jackson, it's like that. It's all about who you know and who's related to you. That's one thing. Okay. The second thing, they need sensitive training and culture training. You got officers coming from St. Clair Shores working in Hamtramck. They just got out of high school, got a 2-year degree. He doesn't know nothing about the Yemeni American or Muslim American or Arab American. They know nothing.
Let me ask you a question. If I didn't like you, and you gave me all the training in the world, is that going to fix me? Or you didn't like me?
No.
You can train all the person you want. See, a German Shepherd in Detroit is the same German Shepherd in Hamtramck. It ain't gonna matter. So what we have to look at is, how is it that we can make our community better? See, we can point our fingers at the police all we want. We can always find a reason to point our fingers at someone else. But we gotta ask ourselves, what are we doing? What are we doing to what are we doing to make what we complain about better? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? It's easy to complain, but it's even harder to do something about what you're complaining about.
And to answer that question in terms of that, this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because we have two guys here that are definitely great to at least have the conversation and spark up some stuff, because, and everybody has the right to be outraged about whatever it is. I think the bigger issue here is, what can we do so that this doesn't happen again? How can we help? How can we help that, for those that are struggling, that like Mr. Jackson said, he mentioned it, that, if this is the case, and if, according to people, and, I've seen it with my own two eyes as well, that, he's been out there for a while, and eventually, you're going to run into a situation. And so, like, how can we help him? How can we together, and I'm asking you guys this, by the way, I'm asking you, Ibrahim, like, what can we do so that we can help the guy, and help anyone else that is going through maybe a similar situation, and so that this doesn't happen? Because I think it starts with us as a community to support each other, So what do you think, Ibrahim?
I think, it's fixing the relation. Max is coming to Al-Masjid al-Kabir, the UCC, before Jumu'ah to speak and regarding this issue, and tell the people, what's going on. The second thing, I think, I don't care if they're volunteers or whatever it is, we need more connection from the police department to the normal citizen that's a dishwasher in downtown that's willing to volunteer in Hamtramck. The third thing is body cams, just like Dearborn, or just like any other city. That's very important. Tasers, like Officer Jackson said, tasers, it helps a lot in any situation. And in Hamtramck, there's a lot of fights. Instead of using your gun or whatever, having a taser is great. So I think those are the steps we can start with.
Okay, Mr. Jackson.
And Max already agreed regarding I'm sorry, one more thing. Yeah. I spoke to Max for a good 45 minutes, and he said, they agreed on the body cams. Finally, they're filing for a grant. And I told him, within 3 months, you don't get it, I'm willing to collect money from the community, from California to New York, and we'll give you the $120,000 for everyone to be safe. The body cam will protect the officer and the citizen. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson. I'm sure you want to say something.
But again, we see officers and we see businesses, police officers with cameras. It really hasn't stopped a lot of crime. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't really stopped police.
A body cam, Mr. Jackson, a body cam, and an officer didn't help?
But what I'm saying to you, what I'm saying is this. We've seen people on body cameras be still shot and killed, right? We still see it. It's not a silver bullet for what we're talking about. It's not one silver bullet. So there's so much other things that we need to do. And when you put up the sign 0, you says, we got to see how we can start getting some of your people onto the police department, into the city council, into the community groups, and doing more volunteering and trying to actually work on fixing some of the other bigger issues as well. It's no silver bullet for what we're talking about. It's not.
Can I tell you something? I tell you something? We're the first city that's majority council Muslim between Bangladesh and Yemenis, right?
Okay.
In the city hall, there's not one Arab American that works in the city hall of Hamtramck, and we represent 38% of the city. That's a big problem.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Go ahead. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, I think we should focusing on this situation. I think what I kind of want to see is I want to see more helping somehow, some way. And when I spoke to Max, he mentioned to me that, the state of Michigan, and I think just America does a bad job with mental health services, but the state of Michigan, I think they stopped funding it like a few years ago. And so this is why the officers were put in the situation in the first place, and that they had to deal with it themselves. But with that said, I kind of want to touch on why can't we get to the root of the problem. And then the root of the problem is we're allowing each other to walk around with these issues, and we're not doing anything about it. It could have been handled if we had an organization or a group or a professional area where people can go there and that have problems and mental health issues and have this discussion. I mean, this is just me sharing my thoughts on that topic specifically, because that's what I want to get out of this. I want to see, we can have this topic and then we can talk about it, but how are we helping like I said, we grew up with the guy, we know the guy, so how are we helping him? How are we helping people that are like him? And if we're just going to talk about it and not do anything about it. Go ahead.
One thing, Omar and Mr. Jackson, do you think he's the only one in Hamtramck that has that problem?
No, not at all.
No. I know 55 of them, between females and males. There's 55 of them that I know personally. But a lot of them are staying inside. They're probably locked inside the house. But he's the only one that's out. And his family can't control him. His mom is in the hospital, his dad is in the hospital, his uncle just passed away, and they all got COVID.
Wow.
And his mom and dad are in bad shape.
I'm sorry, for those that are watching, I think his internet, but he's back on right now, and he'll continue on talking. Go ahead, Ibrahim, you can continue off what you were saying. Once he joins us, and Mr. Jackson, I guess if you want to just take the mic right now, did you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, I heard what he was saying, and it's actually so true. I mean, a lot of times when something is happening to someone else, we don't feel it. If I was to pinch the person next to me, you wouldn't feel it. He would feel it. Until you get pinched, then you'll understand it. So that young man has been pinched, and everybody who's viewing this and in your community has seen it. See, what affects one directly affects us all indirectly. And we have to try to figure out, again, like I was saying, it's not one silver bullet for what's going on. We have to figure out and start utilizing the resources that we have available to us to get some of the results that we need to get done, and actually try to pull together and get more resources so we can kind of fix some of these problems, because eventually that young man that we're talking about, and, I want to stay back onto that because, people are angry about what they feel like the police done. Based on what I saw, the police officer used the minimum force necessary to detain that young man.
Can you
hopefully we get him some help, huh?
Yeah, I was going to say, because there's people commenting saying that they disagree that it's minimal. So can you give an example of maximal force, and can you give me an example of minimal force?
Listen to me, man. They didn't see George Floyd. They didn't see Breonna. Listen, go back and see some other tapes where the police actually killed someone, where they didn't have to kill someone. See, that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And you have to see, listen, I went to Cooley High School. I'm from Detroit. I grew up poor. You know what I'm saying? I grew up poor. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. You know what I'm saying? I had gold grades through high school just like any other average kid. You know what I'm saying? My brothers that died from drugs, you know what I'm saying? They've been in and out of jail. So don't label me as some superstar or anything like that. I just happened to see more and wanted more. I joined the police department at the age of 21. I retired at the age of 45 because I started the business. I finally went back to college and got my degree at the age of 55. So, I had the struggles also. I went to Cooley High School, graduated in 1983, should have been 1982. You know what I'm saying? Grew up in a household full of people. So then I happened to join. I always wanted to be the police. You know what I'm saying? So when I see things like that happen in our community, when I see a young black man who gets killed, that's someone that looks like somebody in my family. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I've always worked with kids. You know what I'm saying? I've always worked with people with mental. I have a brother in my household who's a mental ill person. I can guarantee you, anybody who's watching this, give him a beer, have him off his medication, and I want you to get 2 or 3 of your friends and try to hold him down on the ground and see if you can do it. It's almost impossible. And what I'm looking at on that tape, it could have been worse. It wasn't worse. So we can talk about the police all we want. there's a bigger issue that's going on in our community.
And what is that? Can you clarify?
And we have to address it.
What is it?
Well, it starts with us. It starts with us. Again, the word enemy. It's good to look. It's always, see, it's not the thief in the alley that I ever worry about. It's the thief that's in my mind that I worry about. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to talk about the other person. You know what I'm saying? But what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to make things better in our community? Are you spending time in our schools, helping mentor, work with kids, helping with their homework, helping feed the homeless, you know, helping Mrs. Johnson on the neighborhood block who can't cut her grass, you know what I'm saying? Who are, you know, we can keep talking. This is a great big, I'm glad you brought this up because this is another topic we got to have next week or the week after that. But I don't want to get off topic. I want to talk about I want to stay with the police. I've been a police officer and I'm not I posted something on I'm Melvin Jackson on Facebook. I do a thought of the day. I did something on a young lady where the police officer killed who had the knife. I may have not killed the young girl with the knife. I may have grabbed the knife. I don't know what I would did. You know what I'm saying? But again, somebody's life was lost. You know what I'm saying? This person here, life wasn't lost. Yes, there's probably some problems in the Hamtramck Police Department. You guys have to continue to do what you guys been doing, maybe step it up a little bit more and see if you can get more of your people in the community on the police force. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so you can bring about change in the community and see the things that you want to see. Because see, that's what happened with me. I became the police to be a reflection of my community and make a difference in it. That's why those are the things that you named off about me before the show started. Those happened in my first 10 years. But the great work that I did in the police department happened in my last 10 years. About getting people out of gangs, you know what I'm saying? Talking to people about going to school, getting an education, joining the police department, being active in your community. So, you know, we can keep talking. I can keep talking all we want about it, you know what I'm saying? Based on what I'm saw, and I'm telling you guys, I'm not taking sides. The police, we know there's a lot of police officers here that make the name police officers bad, but there's a lot of them that make the police officer badge looks good. And I was saying about on Facebook, I put on there, I put Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter. And people were mad at me saying that blue lives doesn't matter. Blue lives matter when I was wearing uniform because I was a person in the community helping the community. You know what I'm saying? So people it's always a double-edged sword. So, you know what I'm saying? Again, I just want to thank you, man, for having this platform here. We can talk off the air because I don't know how long you're going to be on here tonight, but yeah, we can continue to talk.
It's definitely Ramadan, so
it's Ramadan. The food is ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got about another 20 minutes at least. But Ibrahim, so go back to the video, Ibrahim, because that is kind of what we're here today, and we can have another conversation another day because I'm loving.
Well, you know, New York time. I was supposed to break my fast 5 minutes ago for your information.
Oh man. I hope.
But it's okay. It's okay.
So, Ibrahim, what I guess upset you about the video? Was there something specific that upset you? Like, what is it? Maybe he can clarify. Mr. Jackson can clarify.
What pissed me off was, before I understood anything from Max and the chief and everyone else that called me, is this, I know the kid, and we grew up with him. He goes to a restaurant, gets his coffee, and goes outside. He does not speak to no one. He does not give the middle finger. He's never cussed in his life. And that's what really bothered me. And when I seen 3 officers on him, that affected me. I mean, as soon as I seen that video, I went live on Facebook and just went on. You've probably seen it, okay? It's just the way he's never bothered anyone. And for them to say that a mosque called, he's never been to a mosque. He doesn't even go near mosques. Okay, that's another thing. Okay. So there's something behind it. There's something going on. And when I seen one of the officers, I think the knee, I seen the knee, I didn't know if it was on the shoulder or on the neck. I remember Trayvon Martin. We protested. We cried for that person. I didn't even know him. Imagine them doing that to a person that you know.
And I just want to mention that Melvin Jackson, I know you touched on this, but I kind of want to just see what your thoughts are on this situation. So why 3 instead of 1? Like, what would happen if it was 1? And why is 3 better? Because you mentioned 3 is more better than 1. So why?
Well, again, I'm not saying that 3. See, you're dealing with a person. One person couldn't have possibly handled that person. Two people probably couldn't handle it. What I saw was one officer took his leg. One officer had his head. One officer had him in the middle, and they controlled the body. You know what I'm saying? Imagine for a moment if that was one officer who showed up by himself and he had to detain an officer. It might have been a lot worse. He may have had to use his gun. And we wouldn't be talking, anything could be going over in Hamtramck right now. Things could be burning, protesting, all because, people, we see something different. And I'm telling you, I see it as a police officer and a person who has dealt with people. He said that he doesn't bother anyone. But we know a lot of people, the police have been called on, that don't be bothering anyone. Somebody see this person doing something, they call the police on him and say, hey, this man is doing this. That man probably not doing nothing wrong. But when I get the call, you describe a black male, 5'9", wearing a red shirt, red hat. My job now is to investigate this person.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. He may not, but I can guarantee you that person that I saw right there, and I'm not passing judgment. I'm pretty good at what I do, what I used to do. If he's a person going through some of the crisis problems that we just talked about, what's going on in his life, he's probably roaming around the community. And there's some people who like him, and there's some people who don't. And it could be anything. So we have to, I'm hoping at the end of this, so is this person still in the high? Where is he at now?
And so I asked Max that, and I can't confirm. He couldn't confirm that because they just drop him off, and that's not their. But I'm sure maybe Ibrahim knows.
Yeah, by law they get to keep him for 10 days. The mental hospital does, whether it's Crestwood or I forgot the name of the one in Pontiac, but they get to keep him for 10 days.
Okay. So if he comes out in better shape than he was when he left, we all gonna celebrate. We're gonna be happy about it. So I'm hoping in the end result, that this young man got the help that he needed, and I'm hoping that because he's going through a lot. I've experienced a lot in the last 11 months as far as my family. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine what this young man may have experienced with what's going on in his family. Again, we don't know what he's going through. If he has a mental issue and you compounded on he's not eating like he should eat, or he's not on his medication, or he don't have his mother and his father or his sisters and brothers and families in his life, that may even affect him even more. So again, I'm hoping that what the officer did leads him onto something better happening for him in the future. Maybe he's getting the help that he needs.
And before I'm gonna let you guys wrap it up, both of you guys, I'm just gonna quickly go over the facts that were given to me one more time for people that are keeping asking. I'm just wanna quickly say it just one more time. By the way, all facts were reported to me by Max Garbarino, who is the Director of Public Safety for the City of Hamtramck, okay? Number one, the police were called because he had been causing problems at one of the local mosques. Some of you are asking what are the problems. It was not specified, so I did not ask. He was located at a short distance away, and the officers were evaluating if he was a threat to anyone. Number two, after the officers attempted to speak with him at length, it was clearly obvious to them that he needed to be taken to the hospital for medical attention, and officers are allowed to do that. Number three, he was never arrested and was never going to be arrested. The officers were simply taking him into protective custody to transport to the hospital for help. And number four, he was not hurt from the incident at all, and the officers never struck him or restricted his breathing, contrary to what people are attempting to say. With that said, Ibrahim Aljahim, I'm going to let you now kind of give the final touches to everything and kind of see, first, just a final thoughts on the whole video, the incident, and then maybe also answer what can we do next, because I think that's important.
Okay. Martin and many victims.
Hold on, Ibrahim, can you wait one second? Wait one second, because I think you're breaking up. I don't know if it's your internet or something. You're breaking up right now. There you go. I think you should be good now. Go ahead.
Okay. What I'm saying is, when you first see the video, all you see is, you remember Trayvon Martin, and you remember the people, the victims that went through this in the past, the Black Lives Matter situation. That's one thing. And then the second thing that we need to talk about is we've been having problems in Hamtramck. Okay? We've been having problems in Hamtramck. Okay, with the police department or what's going on in the city. But I think to solve this issue, like Brother Jackson said, is to start looking at the roots of the situation. Okay? Have community policing. Have the police department do more events at mosques and schools and going out to the community. They don't just come out when there's a problem or when they get tickets or there's a fight. They need to come out at least one Friday every month to a different mosque and speak to the community. Don't just come when they have a soccer game. You'll have 50 officers, including reserves. Okay, they come out, and work. I'm sure they're getting paid from this, whatever the team called that plays in Hamtramck. Hamtramck FC. What is it called? Detroit FC?
Yeah, Detroit FC.
You see hundreds of officers and this and that. But what I'm saying is, we need to do more events in the community. Get the police closer to the community. And we need to find ways on how can the community be involved with the police department, whether through programs or giving out stickers to the kids or reading books at schools with the officer. Things like that. We just got to work together. Teamwork makes dream work.
So,
and we just need respect, honor, and that's it.
For sure, and that's what you want from the policing. And I want to ask you this, as I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. So what can we do as a community? And I think that's what's important as well. What can we do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? How can we help? How can we help people that are like...
What can we do is every mosque in Hamtramck, there's 2.2 mile, right? Radius, the city of Hamtramck. You know how many mosques we have there? 14 masjids. Every mosque is responsible to do what they have to do. Just like the churches do, and the synagogues in New York, and Atlanta, and California, everywhere. I think every masjid should take responsibility to step up, to help the community, because they know the community more than us. They get the phone calls when they have problems. Okay? Yeah. Whether it's my brother Saleh, or Sheikh Zahedi, or Yasser Al-Audi, or Maysan, or Ghazali, whoever. They take responsibility regarding the family issues and the mental health issues in the community and the problems in the community. They have the money, they have the power, they have the organizing, and I am putting 100% responsibility on them.
And I mean, that's coming from you. I like to look at it like all of us need to work together, but just want to make sure. Thank you for that. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jared, final note, you want to touch on everything that we kind of discussed?
Well, I just want to say thank you, man, for putting this on you and the brother here. Give him share my number with him. I like to talk with him further. Maybe I can and offer some assistance on some things. I'm glad that you put this on. I'm glad I took time out of my schedule to speak with you, man. I love what it is you're doing, man. You just keep motivating people and you keep putting the word out there, and that's how things change. This time we just spent on here, I don't know whether it was maybe an hour, I don't know. It's the start of something. And it's going on all over this country. People are talking about it. But see, we got to do more than just talk about things. We got to be about it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the money to put behind it, you can put your hands behind it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to do things, especially for our seniors, our young people, our people who suffer with mental illness out here. We got to make sure we hold, no matter who's in the White House, mayor's house, the police chiefs, we have to hold them accountable to try to bring change that we need to see in our community. And you have me, man, and just, continue to reach out to me, and, let's continue to talk further and see if I can help you guys bring about change in your city.
Sounds great. If you guys don't have any final comments, that's kind of the way I wanted to end this, and I appreciate both of you for doing this. Seriously, not a lot of people will come on and talk about these kind of topics. So for both of you to be able to do this, Mr. Melvin Jackson and Mr. Ibrahim Aljahim, I appreciate you guys so much for this, and I hope that we helped.
Thank you.
We helped a little bit, and we kind of educated people. And hopefully we can start taking the next steps forward for whatever it takes to start making this a better situation.
Just one more thing. Mac Debriano will be at the UCC Masjid at 1 p.m. to speak to the community. So everyone's invited.
And I'm gonna repeat what you said. I'm gonna repeat what you just said because you kind of breaking down. He said that Max, he is the public safety for the city of Hamtramck. And he's the one that also shared all the information with me that's needed, so he kind of knows everything that went on with the situation. He is going to be speaking at the UCC Masjid Al-Kabir, which is in Hamtramck, this Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. So if you do... What'd you say, Ibrahim?
Yeah, everyone can join. I mean,
Yeah, anyone.
Before Jum'ah.
Yeah, before Jum'ah prayer, so anyone and everyone can join if you guys want to get on the conversation. Again, I appreciate both of you guys, and that's really all I have. And if we want to have another conversation, I'll be more than glad to be a part of it.
When you put it together, I'll show you.
You got it. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
All right.
Yep, same here. Anything for you, Omar.
All right.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. God bless.
All right, you too. God bless.
Have a good
All
day.
right. Talk to you soon.